Spread good, baby.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 4 of the Spread Good podcast. My name is Brodi Nick, and I'm back once again with the homie Spread Good squad member, Nick Ordonez. What's up, bro?
What up, what up?
Yo, man, so today we're going to be talking about running a business, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly, the ins and the outs, and the things we wish we would have known before we started businesses. We're already on episode 4.
Episode 4, baby.
Crazy.
Yep.
Getting old in this podcast game. We're deep, episode 4, but we're having a lot of fun. Really appreciate, by the way, everybody that's been liking, subscribing, following, commenting.
Hitting the bell button.
Hitting the bell button. We're loving this. Honestly, it's very new to me. I know you didn't do podcasts before either, so this is...
Nope, but getting great feedback from a lot of people, so love doing this.
Absolutely. So we just want to keep it going, have fun, add some value, and spread some good. So, Nick, I know before you and I linked up, you had run multiple businesses before we met. What's been one of your favorite ones?
I think it's easy for me to say Jet Set because it's my baby. It's the first business that I started on my very own. I started it because of a passion, and it's the reason I'm here today. It's the reason I met you. It's the reason I joined the nonprofit. It's the reason we started Spread Good, or it's part of the reason. So I think that's definitely my favorite. I think my mom's starting a home care when I went to college so that my brother could have, some friends. It didn't really go the way that my mom was expecting it to, but that business is still going strong, and my wife has been helping me with the home care, so that's been a really cool business.
I think that's really cool. One thing that I think is really interesting is you have this family business, the home care, which has been around, 10, 15?
15 years.
15 years.
Yep.
And then you have Jet Set. What is that like? Is there a difference between running a business like a home care, which seems, it's not like a brand, right? You're not pushing it on social media. You're not getting influencers involved.
Yep.
So what's that been like running a business like the home care and then a business like Jet Set? Do you feel the same tie to it?
Not really. Jet Set, it feels like it's a representation of myself. So all the moves we make, I think about it a little bit more than with the home care. It's more about just taking care of our clients and making money, really. So it's very, very different. I'd say I enjoy both, but if I had to choose one, it would be Jet Set for sure. But yeah, I know before I met you, you were a musician, right?
Yeah.
That's like running a business, right?
It definitely is. And I think that's, what propelled me into it so deeply is I loved music. I left after my freshman year at Sac State, which was like a big no-no to like all my friends and family. I dropped out to pursue music full time. And, when I made that decision, it wasn't like, I just want to leave college so I could like hang out at my parents' house and play the guitar. I knew that I needed to make money and make real moves because I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. So, I started hosting my own shows, hosting my own events. I invested in a venue. I opened up a recording studio. I started collaborating with other artists on a deeper level than just writing songs. And, it became more of a business than I thought it was going to be honest, because I spent so much time running the business side of everything. I didn't really get to spend as much time on my passion, which was writing the music, performing, playing, producing. Just kind of crazy how it all works out.
Yeah, that is crazy. And then after that is when you started the nonprofit, right?
Yeah, and that's when I started the nonprofit. And the nonprofit really came from the music. I was selling those bracelets at my shows. The money I would make would go to the nonprofit. And it was really cool, but it was just definitely a different transition from becoming a musician who's touring, playing shows, doing all these crazy things to running a nonprofit.
Yeah. And how long before I met you were you running the nonprofit?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a long time.
It's too long. Too long.
Was there anything that you wish you would have known before starting the nonprofit?
To be honest, I wish I knew it was a business, because when I started the nonprofit, it was just a passion project. I didn't even know what a 501c whatever was. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to handle administrative tasks or HR or any of this stuff. I just wanted to help kids with cancer. And that really held me back for a few years, really till I met you. It was so small because I had so many issues with the business because I wasn't treating it like a business. I was just trying to help people. And it really held us back from scaling and doing more and helping more kids because I was trying to do everything on my own and not treating it like a business where I hire, I scale, I go over projections, goals. It was just kind of a clusterfuck, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, you learned from being a musician and then the nonprofit, all of those things you can apply to business. All of the things that you learned, right? So do you like nonprofit?
I love nonprofit, but it's a love-hate relationship. I think that's kind of like the music thing. The nonprofit started not being as fun when it became a bigger business. Because even today, my core doesn't look at the nonprofit as a business, but the reality says otherwise. It is a business. And I feel like I haven't had as much fun running the nonprofit lately because there's just too much business. And I feel like that's what happened with my music career as well. It was just too much business. It wasn't about just like meeting people, playing shows, creating music. It became a business. It became paying artists out. It became paying the rent at the studio. It became all these things that I don't know if anybody's passionate about them, but I'm definitely not passionate about any of that stuff. And that's what's been tough.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm the same way. When I joined one at a time, I just really wanted to help, and I wanted to help it grow. And it became more and more business. And then now it just doesn't feel like it was before. I still want to help people, but I don't want to spend all day doing administrative work to help people. I want to, just donate money and hang out with the kids, but I don't want to be doing paperwork all day. Exactly.
And I know we actually had a conversation offline yesterday I thought was really interesting is, when I met you, you had all these different businesses. You're you won't say it because you're so humble, but you crushing the game, bro. Like you're just living a really cool life. Some of the things that I still haven't experienced, you were just living that lifestyle because you had a lot of money from your businesses and you were doing well. And when I met you, I remember you telling me, man, I really want to get involved in the nonprofit because I kind of want to be on the ground and work with these kids and just not really care about business. I just want to help the nonprofit.
Yeah.
And so you jumped in, you helped us grow so much. You've met a bunch of kids, but like you said, over the last couple of years, do you feel like you're having the same feelings you had a couple of years ago when you wanted to get in about this business?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've always wanted to follow more of my passion with, Jet Set, then the nonprofit, and even Spread Good now. And it just always ended up being more about the money and more about business. And I don't really like that. Like I want a purpose that's bigger than just money. So I definitely feel like it's changed over the years. I still think the mission of the nonprofit is beautiful and I still want to be part of that. But I definitely think it's changed a lot.
100%. And yeah, when I met you, I remember you wanted to do something that didn't involve just money. You wanted to volunteer, you wanted to meet people, you wanted to make impact on the ground. And obviously that's what we do at the nonprofit. But what a lot of people don't see is, man, does money matter?
Yep.
I feel like since we've been growing it, I've really seen just the most epic stuff, right? In the last 2 years, like raising all that money, flying those kids all over the world, flying all over the world to meet those kids. It's amazing. There's nothing that can replace it. But there's a bill at the end of the day, and that bill falls on us. Yep. And I think that's what's tough. And then, we're trying to show on social, like, oh, we're doing all these things for all these kids. And I think people started thinking, oh, they're so big, they're good. They don't need our help anymore.
Yep.
Because when I started this, it was all about everybody donating just $1. It might not be a lot, but 5,000 people do it, we can do something really epic. And I feel like we've really lost touch with those donors over the last couple of years because we've gone so big and done such big things. People think they're good.
Yeah. They think
I like them on
money
Instagram.
Doesn't matter to us anymore.
And it matters more than ever now.
Yeah.
And I think that's, financial pressure. I've never really felt financial pressure in my life until the last few months with the nonprofit. And it's devastating.
Yeah.
It really can fuck your day up, know? And then you string a few of those bad days along. It's hard to be passionate and happy with that financial pressure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, business is all about money. And when we try to make it not about money, it kind of hurts us. It goes against what we're trying to do. So, yeah, I definitely feel that.
Yeah, and I think that's where one of the hardest things about running a business for myself is just creating those boundaries, right? Being the face of the brand, it is fun. I love it, but it's so hard when you have 50, 100 people hitting you up for this or for that. And it's tough because we've created process, we've created a team, but they'll still hit us up, you know? And it's like, man, it's really hard to voice that, you know, I'm still here, but I'm trying to work on the higher level things, the business stuff, the money things, so that these dreams can keep happening.
Yeah, I think setting those boundaries is always difficult because when you start a business, when I started Jet Set, when you started the nonprofit, we know everything. We can do everything, and we kind of end up doing everything ourselves just because we think it'll be faster. When in order to really grow the business, we need people to help us, and we need to let go of things. And it can be really hard to let go of all of the daily tasks. But yeah, if you're going to grow your business, you should be concentrating on the more important things, the things that are making you money, all of those things that are going to grow.
100%. I'll never forget when we hired our marketing team a few years ago. Up until that point, I made basically all of the copy for, you know, Instagram, Facebook. We've had friends and volunteers along the way to help, but kind of always been the voice. And when this marketing team came in and like took over, I didn't know how to let go, because I'm like, oh, I want to word it this way, or I want this picture to look this way with this edit, or I want to tell this story. Bro, 2 years later, now I ain't trying to touch social media, you know, but it's so funny that like I did not want to let that go. I was like, I don't want the voice to change. It's like sometimes it's almost like if it's, I don't even know if there's a right percentage, but if it's 80, 90% me or 80 per 90% good enough for on brand, it's really just gotten to a point it's good enough.
Yeah.
Because I literally don't have the time to make an Instagram post anymore, or a Facebook post, or a email. It's time that I don't know how I used to have that. I don't know where the time went.
Yeah.
Over the last few years, we've hired so many people to do so many tasks. I know we've dealt with this too. You know, when people quit, it's like doing their tasks. It's like, man, I used to do this all the time, and I don't even remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a couple years ago, you would talk to every single family. Past couple years, I've been talking to every single family, and you feel like you don't want to let that go because you don't want to lose that personal touch. But once you let it go and you realize that you don't need to be there for every family, every day, every minute, it's a lot of freedom, and it feels good.
Feels really good. And I know you've actually been doing a handoff now with one of our team members where they're talking to all the families.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can still be in touch when we can, but we're not the main point of contact. So there's so many situations and things that come up that our team can handle, and the families are just as happy.
Yeah.
They just didn't know anything better because we were always trying to go 100% and be there in person all the time. And like we kind of talked about, it's just become unrealistic. And we just want to find a healthy way to voice that. When we can be there, we're going to be there and be into it. But we just can't be in 7 cities in one day, every day.
Yeah. Very, very true.
Have you noticed a difference between running a nonprofit and a for-profit business?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, when I got into nonprofit, I thought it was going to be more about just the mission and achieving that mission. But it really is about the same thing as a for-profit business. It's about the money, and you need to make the money. But in for-profit, you can sell a shirt and make the money, pay off your vendors, whatever, you're good. You're only responsible for really your business and your employees and your customer. On a nonprofit, you're responsible for your employees, your donors, your mission, the people that you're serving,
the beneficiaries,
your board. There's just so much extra.
the public.
Yeah, there's just so much extra that goes with a nonprofit that I didn't realize. You know, you have to stay true to the mission, and yeah, there's just so many people that are pulling at you in different ways in a nonprofit. But it's a great learning experience. I'm not leaving or anything.
yeah, we're still here. We're still with the nonprofit.
Yeah, but it's just, it's a very big difference. What differences do you see?
I think you nailed it on the head. It's literally a for-profit business on steroids. That's how I see nonprofit. It's because the same thing, when I came into it, I was like, oh man, I could just raise money when I can give it when I can help a kid when I can. As you scale the nonprofit, man, it's demanding. because you got to do better than last year. You got to raise more money than last year, because not only just for our ego, but because we have 7 more team members this year. We have to help 20 more kids in this region this month, and it really starts to stack up, which it is exciting. I will say the growth is awesome, but I think the toughest part is getting so big where your brand is digested and transcribed differently than how we say it. Like, we have families all over the world that will talk about us. This is an example. Katie went to a charity event a couple months ago, a local charity here, just to support. I was with you in New York.
Yeah.
And they saw that Katie was there, and they were going up to all these families and saying like, oh yeah, her boyfriend, she's got this charity. They'll send you wherever you want. Wherever you want. You just to pick a place, they'll send you. They'll send you to Disney World, they'll send you to Hawaii. Just hit him up, he'll send you. And I know he meant well.
Yeah.
I know he did. He's trying to put us on, tell everybody that, this nonprofit's founder's girlfriend's here. I get it. But that is not, it is what we do, but not like that. Not like DM this guy, he's going to send you to, I had a couple DMs. Like, hey, can I go here? It's like, yes, but, there's a process. There's a whole thing to get involved with our charity. And I think that's been the toughest part for me, is people just taking a bite from it and just letting it loose. Or the other thing that's been tough, people that were with me 8-9 years ago that think it's the exact same now, right? They don't know that I've hired people now. I have insurances now I have to pay. Like, they want to talk about what it was to people today. And it just gets a little confusing because the brand is growing every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of the craziest parts to me is the people that we serve, our customers, I guess you could say. They just want so much, and it's hard for us to say no, because the mission is to help them. So if we're helping you and you just keep asking for things, well, where are we going to say no, or how are we going to say no? That was hard for me.
That's still to this day.
It's been like a big learning thing for me. But, like if we were to sell this hoodie to somebody, they give us the money and they expect the hoodie. They're not going to say, well, I should have a hat with it too. I should have pants with it too. It's just,
that's so good.
It's like, what are you talking about? That's why I feel I used to want to be more involved in nonprofit. Now I want to be more involved in for-profit again, because it's just a clear cut. Here's your product or here's your service, and that's it.
I really feel that, because I feel the same way. I think I've been really growing into wanting to just run a really big for-profit that donates a bunch of nonprofits. Like, I'll say it right here on camera. Like, my biggest dream when I was a musician, I just wanted to get super famous. I'll be honest. I wanted to tour the world, meet people, inspire people with my music, and raise money and just pull up on kids at the hospital, and they're excited to see me, and donate and buy people stuff. That was really, I'll be honest, that was my goal in life, is I just wanted to give to people off of my music career. But I got so deep into this charity thing, I didn't even do the music anymore, because I was like, no, we need to help more people. We need to help more people, because I do love it. I did love it. But now it's gotten to a point where I know we've dealt with it. We're giving before we're getting. And it's like, man, now I just wish I was a famous musician that could give when I can and show up when I can. Because now people are just expecting it every single day. But what's hard is and I know both of us have made tough decisions. Like, we've given $20,000 away and we've only raised $8,000.
Yep.
It's like, I think that's what I'm trying to hit hard on is, man, where does the money come from? And that's the toughest part about leading a nonprofit, I feel like. And with a for-profit, like you said, we could sell a hoodie, we could sell 100 hoodies, and we could donate if we want to, but we don't have to.
Yeah.
But I know that me and you both want to. That's why spread good's a lifestyle, like we talked about. It's never going to stop. We just really have to figure out the boundaries, how to voice it, and just how to move forward and spread good.
Yeah. I think another really annoying thing about nonprofits is making sure $9 out of every $10 goes directly to the mission or whatever. And I get why that's there, and I get why charities are rated higher than others, but it's just a lot of semantics to me.
I couldn't agree more, because I feel like we've spent so much bandwidth over the last couple of years focusing on that, which again, like you said, it's important. We don't want no 12 cents of the dollar to go, but we spend so much time on those percentages when we could have spent more time on the impact, more time on getting brand deals to send kids to different theme parks, more time on getting airline points, more time on this and that. When instead we're out here trying to do these books, working with CPAs, trying to get all this stuff lined up, when I get that it matters on a certain level, but man, it's just not worth the bandwidth to me. But again, everybody else just cares about that freaking piece of paper that most people don't even look at.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
that's what's wild about it, is like, why don't we focus on how many kids we've actually impacted, right? Or how many dreams we've made come true, or how much money we've actually given these families, instead of all the freaking IRS details, I guess.
Yeah. I know when I first joined Campaign One at a Time, you were really about like every single dollar is going to the kids, going to the mission. And to me, I was like, that's awesome. And I'm sure everyone that's worked with a nonprofit sees the same thing. But how are we supposed to survive if we're not making anything? We're just doing everything for everyone else.
And that was like a huge, huge issue for me, because I was so connected that every single that's why I started the nonprofit. I felt like there's so many charities in the world, but nobody can trust them because how much of the dollar is going. Yeah. So again, I get the importance. Yeah. So I want to start this whole thing where, like, if you give $20, you know that $20 is going to Alex's first baseball glove. And it was, and it still is. But there's no way, and it took me years and years, multiple people having to shake me and like, bro, this isn't realistic, for every single penny to go directly to a child in need or a family in need, because how do we pay our insurance?
Yeah, I mean, to get the donations, we need to post on social media, make a website, be on the phone. Who's paying the phone bill? Who's paying the internet bill? It can't just come out of our pocket and every single dollar just goes out.
What about the credit card fees?
Exactly.
What about the payment processors?
Everything. The people who are reaching out and talking to the volunteers, training the volunteers, teaching the volunteers.
How do we pay our legal fees? How do we pay ourselves anything? And now I didn't pay myself for 3.5 years, literally. Yeah. 3.5 years I did this for nothing. 3 more years I got $24K a year. Like, how do you acquire talent? Everybody talks about nonprofits like, oh, we got all these volunteers. We do, and shout out to the volunteers. But nobody's working 9 to 5 on it. Do you know what I mean? To get people to really push the mission and the brand forward and help the kids we really need to, people need money. Like we've even had interns where we think it's great and then we're going to hire them, but they're asking for like double what we have in the budget. And it's just like, that's just the reality of life.
Yeah.
People need money. And I guess, I don't know how, I guess I didn't need much money when I was 22, 23, 24, but these kids now, they need money. Yeah. And I agree with them. Like, if you're going to do some legitimate task for me that you're educated in and can help us help more kids, I want to pay that. Yeah. But with what money? And that's why people need to understand that not every penny can go to every single thing. It's impossible. It's unrealistic. We need talent. Like we don't even run ads. Mm-hmm. We're trying to figure this out. Like, we really need talent to step in and help us spread good.
Yeah, definitely.
So one thing that I know I haven't dealt with yet that you have is running businesses while being a husband and a father. Like, what is that like?
I mean, running a business is already hard, but running a business and being a parent is super fucking hard. Yeah. Especially when you have a newborn or a toddler or a young child that really depends on you for everything. And I'm about to have all three, so it might drive me crazy. But being a parent is already hard by itself. You're responsible for your child and you want to do everything for your child. But if you have a business as well, you have to find a balance, which I always talk about, balance. But yeah, running a business and being a parent is super fucking hard. You want to spend all your time with your children, but you have to spend time on the business and you have to find a balance. You obviously have to take care of your child, but if you're not taking care of your business, you can't provide for your child or your family. So, it's just really hard.
Do you feel like over the years your why has changed from when you had businesses maybe in your 20s to now having businesses now with a family?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I kind of joined the nonprofit was when we had our first child. My why changed at that time. I knew I wanted to do something with more purpose than just making money. And now having an even bigger family and going through all the stuff that I've gone through in the nonprofit world and running the businesses that I have, definitely the why has changed. I found a way to spend more time with my family because it's more important to me than my business making a lot of money. But at the end of the day, the business has to make money or else I can't feed my family.
Absolutely. And I think you've done a really good job at that balance because, to be honest, you spend a lot of time here. We spend a lot of time on the road. And, I used to give Nick shit because when we travel, I'm always in the gym. Nick knows this. We go out late and then I'm up in the morning at the gym. I remember one of the first times we traveled, he was like telling me like, oh, I'm going to be in the gym with you. I'm like, all right. And the next morning, and Nick hit snooze. And I was like, why is this guy so tired? And then he came out. He ended up coming to the gym like an hour later. And he told me, like, sorry, man, like, I actually don't sleep when I'm home. So like, even though we were on a work trip, this was like a bed and breakfast for Nick. He was just sleeping. And I've honestly, I don't know if you noticed, I've never questioned you since because, man, I get it. I totally get it. I respect it because Nick shows up every day for not only for me, for the businesses we have, but for your family too. And I respect that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, my wife, she'll tell you, when I go on these business trips or work trips, I enjoy sleeping.
Yeah.
I enjoy sleeping in a little extra and not being woken up by a child in my face. So, yeah, I mean, you have that to look forward to one day.
No, I do. I really do look forward to it.
Yeah. Do you ever think about like not running your own businesses and working for someone, working for a company?
That is a really good question. And I could 100% confidently say this. I will never work for anybody else. But what's crazy is I kind of jokingly, realistically dream about working at Target again. That life was lit, man. Working my little 8 to 4, hanging out with the coworkers. We were all cashiers, and going out afterwards. You just clock in, you clock out. And, running a business is awesome because we run the business. We get to do things how we want to do them. But you never clock out.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I moved in with Katie, people would ask about what I do and this and that. And the way she'd explain my schedule is like, he's never working, but he's always working, because while she's at work, I could go to the gym at 11 a.m., but I'm also replying to donor emails at 9 p.m. I'm replying to a team member calling with a meltdown about something at 11 p.m. Like it just doesn't ever go off. Yeah. And that's been so sorry, that was a long-winded answer. So yes, I actually do think about working elsewhere, but I don't think in a realistic way. I don't think I would ever, we talked about this a few months ago. Like if somebody came to me right now and said, hey, Brody, I want to pay you $1 million a year to come run this charity, I wouldn't do it because I'm absolutely obsessed with what we're building here at the Spread Good Squad right now.
Yeah, 100%. But, sometimes I can't lie. I look at people who have a 8 to 5, 9 to 5 and can clock out and go on vacation. And I get jealous. I wish I could just do that and not think and just, I don't have to respond to my emails. I don't have to answer the phone, anything. But with that being said, I'm really thankful that I have my own businesses because I'm able to have my own schedule. I can spend more time with my children. My wife has her own business, so she can kind of create her own schedule too. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I think about if I didn't have kids, I could spend more time on the business and make more money. But, that's just the way it is.
Absolutely. And, I know we've been working on boundaries with just like, even though we never actually clock in, clock out, I don't even remember the last time we've ever done that. But we've been trying to do that with our schedule, just kind of like, hey, it's time to do the podcast, or it's time to work on the charity, or it's time to go home, right? I feel like you deal with it too. Even though we're clocking off, we're going home, we're eating dinner, the mind never stops. And I think that's what sometimes I do get jealous of. I don't know how everybody's mind works, but sometimes I do get jealous of people that just have 9 to 5s that work, they stress, they whatever, but they clock off and they're not opening the email until they clock back on.
Yeah.
And I feel like mine is 24/7. Like, this, I recently changed my phone number just because I just needed a little bit of like me time. Yeah. So I could open the business phone during business hours, but then really try to like zone out and just be a fucking normal human.
Yeah.
Which I know that sounds so crazy, but that's like a luxurious life to me.
Yeah.
Thinking about just not having to answer to anybody, to just do whatever, to say whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. When you have a business, you're always on.
Yep.
I mean, the business is representing you, you're representing the business. So it's it's not easy, but I think both of us, we wouldn't want it any other way. We want to do
100%.
spread good. We want to run our businesses. And we love it.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm just grateful for, is that I found these opportunities so early on in life, because again, having those freedoms, like just looking back at the last 10 years of all the places we've traveled, all the things we've gotten to see. Yeah, I don't think I could do that just 2 to 4 weeks a year. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that we're always on the constant move. We're always on the constant pursuit of happiness, I guess. But
Yep.
as much as shit we talked about, our situations today, it's a good life.
Yeah.
It's a real good life. It's only getting better. But I think we're just learning every day. And I think that's why it's really cool that we could talk about the hard stuff, because I'm hoping that we get feedback on this too. Maybe other people in our situations have different ways they approach things, different ways they handle things. But it's been really hard. But at the end of the day, I don't regret any of it.
Yeah, me neither. And I love sharing this because not everyone understands or sees it. So with that being said, it's time to fucking clock out.
Time to clock out. So until then, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and
Hit the bell button.
thank you guys. Keep spreading good. And until next time, take shots,
Talk shit.
spread good. Later.
Peace.